Hello, this is Ola, your host on The Unpolished Mum, your weekly podcast on all things parenthood, languages and real life struggles. I'm really honoured you've decided to listen to me today, so let's begin. Picture this. There's a mum holding her baby, sitting in a rocking chair. Her hair is blonde and long and she looks almost angelic, and the baby's sleeping and just cooing a little bit. She looks so in love and she's just, having the best time in her life. And now, back to reality. Has that ever happened to you? Because it's never happened to me. Maybe it's happened to you once or twice, especially for a nice picture, but I wouldn't be surprised if it hasn't. And that's what it is. Before I got pregnant, this was pretty much my idea of motherhood or early motherhood. And then, oh my God, how wrong was I? So today, guys, I wanted to talk to you about motherhood and my expectations or general expectations versus the reality. And I'm very proud because I've divided this episode into sections. So it's going to be very tidy and I'm very proud of it. So I'm going to talk about getting pregnant, pregnancy itself, giving birth, postpartum, feeding and sleep, the first year, toddlerhood, and then what happens beyond. So let me start. Guys, getting pregnant. So me and my husband, we were very lucky because the moment we said, let's have a baby, it literally happened just like that, okay? I didn't think about it that much. I thought, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There was a little bit of sort of a feeling of, it might take a bit longer than we think or we expect because I had some sort of a hormonal issue called PCOS. I think a lot of you must have heard about it, but it didn't really affect our ability to get pregnant. And that was it. So that was easy. And then when I got pregnant, I started hearing from friends and family because, when you're kind of stepping into the world, you start thinking about it and you start finding out new information that you never, heard about before. So I've heard about stories of people trying for kids, for babies for years. So infertility, treatments, spending all their life savings on getting pregnant basically and never giving up hope. And I was feeling absolutely like, one thing, I was feeling like the luckiest person in the world, but also in awe for the resilience that those people had. And that happened in my sort of close circle of friends. And then I heard about other stories about accidental pregnancies, even though I hate the term. So people getting pregnant but not really planning for it. And I know it's trivial. I know it's probably, it used to be one of the biggest fears when you were having sex when you were a teenager. But, it still happens when you're a grown-up. There are times when you're absolutely not ready or just can't see yourself having a baby, but you get pregnant anyway. So my expectations were completely crushed here because it kind of, you know about these things, but then you realize it's never ever just a decision and just a snap of your fingers and then, whoo, you're pregnant. It's much more often something much more complicated. And then the pregnancy itself. So what I expected is that I would probably be sick in the morning, quite tired. I wouldn't do much.
I would probably ask for leave from work when I'm whatever 3 or 4 months pregnant. And then what happened surprised me positively so much that it was very much unexpected. So you might be thinking I'm only going to talk about the negative things that happened and the positive expectations that I had, but no, I'm going to talk about both. So what happened to me was that in my first trimester, I felt really tired, and then I was never ever sick, just nauseous a bit. But then the worst thing that I felt was this constant taste of metal in my mouth. Oh my God, guys, I couldn't stand it. But it was gone quite soon, so I didn't complain. Then my second trimester, Jesus, I'm not gonna lie, guys, if I was feeling like that all the time, I could be pregnant all my life, honestly. My second trimester was a dream. I had a full pregnancy glow, and that's literal and not. My face was super shiny, super greasy. There was lots of things happening with my hormones, so I looked a bit younger. Then my hair was like an afro, honestly. I had so much hair, and it did all sorts of weird things, but it looked good, I also had so much energy. So I was in the middle of doing my advanced teaching qualification called Delta, and it's quite demanding. But the fact that I was pregnant kind of made me have this attitude that, hey, I'm just not going to worry about it because I'm pregnant. That's my priority at the moment. So I'm not going to worry that the course is not going well. And that's why it went well, I was so proud of myself because I really rocked this course, honestly. And I finished it with flying colors. Then I got my first sort of managerial job in English teaching in a summer school. I was already 5.5 months pregnant then, but I accepted a really crazy summer job, and I remember I was feeling really good about it. The funny thing as well was that at that time we were still living in London, but the job was sort of on the other side of the city, so to avoid commuting every day, I just stayed where the job was for the week, and then was coming back for the weekends home. Crazy, I know, but I felt like I could do it, and I was totally fine most of the time. I mean, I would say 99% of the time, apart from feeling tired every now and again. So pregnancy, right? Then when you're pregnant, you also think of how you want to give birth. So my idea was to give birth not at home. I was always thinking about the hospital, but I've always dreamt about giving birth in the water. So I thought that would be absolutely ideal. And everything was going well in my pregnancy. So the midwife said, yeah, not a problem. We can arrange that. And I was super happy about it. And again, then I've met a few other pregnant ladies, and they said that their pregnancy were completely opposite. And it made me think, Jesus, do I even deserve my pregnancy? I kind of have thoughts like that every now and again about different aspects of my life. There were friends who felt so shit that they couldn't move, they couldn't work, they really wanted to have babies, but they didn't want to be pregnant ever. I had a friend who admitted that she was diagnosed with the acute morning sickness symptom, so basically being sick all the time. I had a friend who had all sorts of back problems, and many others. So there were also still the continuation of the story of some people who are trying for babies and used IVF. So every day of their pregnancy was like a blessing, but also sort of stained with worry and anxiety whether the pregnancy is gonna end happily, you know. So that was another side of this coin. For me, it was amazing, but then I was hearing so many stories of people not having it as well as I did. Then there is another thing. So you obviously, when you think about your baby that's inside you, you think it's going to be just amazing. You can't wait for them to arrive. So you sign up for the parental or antenatal classes. And oh my God, that was fun. I remember going to the free sort of antenatal class where I met we both actually met some other couples, and we thought the class was fun, you know. There was a baby, there was a lady holding a doll teaching us how to breastfeed. My husband was just laughing and saying, no, I know everything about it now. So, you know, the reality was only proved to us when the baby arrived. But I remember that the expectations of how life with a newborn will look like was just, it's going to be amazing and cute and just all cuddles and snuggles and fluffy and amazing. But, well, you know, it wasn't. And the other thing is, which I already at that kind of point thought is quite unrealistic, is that they were only, so in the antenatal classes, they were only talking about those things in theory, right? So we couldn't practice anything. Like, you know, you expect that you will be taught how to change a nappy, you know? For some women especially, it might feel or look natural, but guys are usually completely petrified. They don't know how to do it. And you know what? The classes, you know, they did talk about it, but when the baby arrives, we still didn't know how to do it. We still didn't know if we would break the baby if we do something wrong. Honestly, it's just such a weird concept. I think those classes are important, and also for another reason, you just meet other people who are usually local, who are about to have a baby, so you might be making friends for life. In England, there is this whole organization called NCT, and a lot of expectant moms and parents sign up for those paid courses and then meet people that they honestly just hang out all the time afterwards. Their kids become friends, and that's amazing. I think that could probably be the most important purpose of the whole class, because I don't really think I've learned anything practical from them. But that might be just me, because I'm the kind of person who loves doing her own research, reading about things, rationalizing things so that they don't feel so scary or so worrying, and but yeah. And then what happened next is, when I was entering my third trimester, everything was still okay. But then around 34 or 35 weeks, I felt that something wrong was happening. So I had my regular midwife visits, and I went to one of them at 34 weeks, and the midwife said that my blood pressure was a little bit high, so I should monitor it. I bought a monitor, and I was doing my blood pressure every day, and it was kind of fluctuating. So I was worried, but not that much, because, you know, the memory of the whole pregnancy and me feeling so great made me think, no, everything is probably going to be just fine. And then at 37 weeks, or just 3 days before 37 weeks, I went for another checkup, and my blood pressure was so high that my midwife sent me straight to the hospital. And that's where I stayed. And 3 days later, they said I will have to be induced and Leon just has to come because they diagnosed me with preeclampsia. And that was